Alright, hello everybody. Today I'm going to be setting up an Arch virtual machine on my computer for use in my future videos. So I'm planning to start another Emacs series where I kind of build up an Emacs configuration more incrementally. So I'll have one video just covering all the basics, kind of like I did in my last Emacs video. But then I'll go on to have separate videos on setting up different languages and things like that. So to do that, I do not want to try to use a virtual machine over SSH again, because my internet here at home is pretty slow. So today, I'm going to set up virtual machines on this computer. And this computer is my desktop, so the reason I didn't set up local VMs before is because I was running on some ThinkPads, but I finally got a new SSD for my desktop and installed Arch on that instead of Windows I used to have on that desktop. I hadn't even touched my desktop in I think over a year, because I've been just running Linux on these ThinkPads. But I figured since I'm starting to record videos, I should get my desktop back in working order. So as you can see, I'm kind of following along one of DistroTube's videos about setting up virt-manager. So to do that, we're going to need to install several programs, and we're starting on the wiki page for libvirt. So the first part of this video is just going to be setting up the virtual machine program, which I've actually never done before. Hopefully it's going to go smoothly. And then after that, if it hasn't gone on too long, we'll go ahead and dive into the Arch install as well. If it's running a little long, I'll probably split the Arch install itself into a separate video. So with that, let's go and get started. So I haven't actually done any of this yet, but I have been looking at the install guide, and like I said, I've been watching DistroTube's video on doing this, so hopefully I know what's going on. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is install the libvirt package. So actually what I'm going to do is go ahead and install everything I'm pretty sure I need at one time. So we're going to do pacman-s. Oh, I didn't make that one bigger yet. How's that look? So we definitely need libvirt. I believe we also need QEMU. Let's see. Down here it says, I think we need both of these for connectivity to the internet. So I'll do IP tables, NFT, and DNS mask. And then, yes, we do need virt-manager. That's going to be our graphical client for these. So we need the package virt-manager. And that should be good. It says we may need the LX session package. That's what DT said we might need. I'm going to try it without that first. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. Remove IP tables. That's a good question. Using NFT. Remove IP tables. I guess so. Actually, hold on. Let's not do that. I'll go with the default. We'll say no. Oh. Alright, alright. We'll say yes then. Proceed with installation. Yeah, hopefully this doesn't run too long. If it does, I will pause the stream. Certainly I'll have to do that in the Arch install portion. Okay, so this is looking great. I think that's all for installation. Now, there were a couple things we actually need to configure. So it says the easiest thing to do is just add my user to the libvirt group. So I'll do that. We're going to user mod, little a for append, big G for group. And I'm going to add myself to the libvirt group. Libvirt, Brent. Perfect. What else can we do? I guess I can check what groups I'm in. Wheel, libvirt, Brent. Okay. Now I think the only other thing I need to do is actually start the libvirt daemon. So, alright, let's see if I can remember. System, CTL. Let's enable, I think this is how you start and enable it at the same time. I always think about doing that. I usually just call start and enable. So we need to start libvirtd.service. Now if we read a little farther, we don't actually have to start virt-logd service, because it says if you enable libvirt-d service, which I'm doing, it enables these two, so you don't need to enable this one. No need to enable. Okay, we may need to start this service, but DistroTube didn't do that, so I'll start it just in case. System.ctl start virt-log d. Okay. Just in case. Okay, let's go ahead and try to open virt-manager. Okay, we're looking good, I think. I don't remember which one I was on. So hopefully we're done. I think we're going to be done with these terminals. I'll leave this one open for a second. Let's spin up a new virtual machine. Yep, I have a local installation medium. Let's browse. Default. Oh, browse local. Okay. Okay. Oh, those are some things I've been making. Let's choose the Arch ISO. Forward. Sure. Okay, so since I'm actually going to be using Emacs in this thing, let's give it, I'm going to give it at least 4 gigabytes of RAM. That's one nice thing about my desktop is I have 16 gigabytes of RAM. 4 should be enough, I think. If not, you know, I can always make a new VM in the future. So let's go with that. Yeah, I'll give it 1 CPU. Perfect. Okay. So this is what I was worried about. I think I'm going to go with 64 because I'm going to plan to record a lot of videos in here. So I would like it to have plenty of storage. Let's try that. Arch Linux. Let's see. Yes. Okay, here we go. Oh, this is cool. Alright, how far in are we? 7 minutes? Alright, let's go ahead and plow ahead with the, oh, sure. Ah, yes, I see. Alright. Oh, okay. Let's go ahead and move this one. Uh-oh. Alright, what's in... Okay, there we go. Alright. So, I'll go ahead and make this full screen somehow. Well, actually, I don't want it to be full screen. Let's move this. Okay. So, we're done with the libvirt part. Now, we're going to move on to the installation guide for Arch. So, I took care of this stuff before I acquired the installation image. I didn't verify the signature, but hopefully that's okay. Right now, we are booting the live environment. Okay. So this is good. The default console key map is US. So I did just do this. What day was that? Last Thursday. So hopefully I remember what I'm doing. But you know, if we run into any disasters, it should be a good learning experience. So here we go. We want to start here. I think the first thing we need to do is just verify the boot mode. So I usually do a legacy BIOS installation. Okay, we're looking good. So we'll be able to do just a legacy BIOS. Good. No EFI virus found. Perfect. Okay. The first thing to do, let's see if we're on the internet. archlinux.org. Beautiful. Looks like our internet is working. Let's see. So, one thing I did want to say about the internet is that this IWCTL utility is actually really cool. I don't think I'd ever used it before, but I used it when I was setting up my desktop here. It was really sweet. I usually use Network Manager, so I use like NMTUI or something, but I quite liked IWCTL. Alright, we pinged Arch Linux. Yes, now we should update our clock. Time date CTL. So I think this shouldn't take too long. Okay, cool. We're already up to the disks. So the first thing I'm gonna do, okay, it does list that here. we're just going to list our block devices and see what's connected. So, there we go. VDA is our hard drive. So that's the disk. Yeah, okay, of course, it's a TTY, so I can't use the mouse. So VDA is the drive we're going to be partitioning. I guess I can use fdisk-l as well. And you can see, yeah, dev VDA, 64 gigabyte virtual hard drive, which is what I created. So now we can just fdisk that. This is pretty much the hardest part of the Arch install. So fdisk dev VDA. Okay, beautiful. It doesn't have any partition table. It created a new DOS disk label for us. Let's go ahead. I'm going to create a new empty DOS partition table. Okay, and we're going to follow this basically. Let's see. We are using this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and start partitioning it. So the first thing I need to do is create a new partition. So this first partition is going to be my boot partition. So primary is good. So, yep, partition number default is 1. Is this, can you see this? Can I make this a little bit bigger? I'm not sure. Hopefully it's big enough to see. Okay, so first sector, we're going to accept the default again. Okay, so let's see. The wiki actually doesn't even recommend anything for this. I'm pretty sure 256 megabytes is sufficient. So let's go do 256 M. I think my boot partition on my computer, when I checked it before the video, is using, it's like less than 100 megabytes, but we'll give it more than it needs just in case. Alright, so there we've got a Linux boot partition. Now let's go ahead and add another partition, again within primary is good. This is our second one, first sector. And let's see, I gave this thing, this is going to be our swap partition. I'm just going to give it 2 gigabytes of swap. I haven't really thought through that too much. On my physical hardware, I usually give it 1.5 times my RAM. So if I were going to follow that here, I'd give it 6 gigabytes of swap. But that seems like a lot of swap for a VM on a 64 gigabyte hard drive. So I'm going to give it 2 gigs of swap. And we are going to need to change the type of that partition. I think, let's get a little bit of help for that. I think it's T. T, change the partition type. Yeah, 2. And we want Linux swap. I'm just going to list all of it. So it's number 82, Linux swap / Solaris. So I'm going to change it to 82, Linux swap. Beautiful. Okay, after that, so we've got our boot partition, we've got our swap partition. Now we need a root partition and a home partition. I guess since it's a VM, we probably don't need a separate home partition, but I'll just go through it how I usually go through it on my physical machines, and we'll see how that goes. Let's see, so we need another new partition, still primary, now 3, first sector there, so we've got 64 gigabytes, oh man, let's give 16, well, most of what I'm going to do here, let's do 24. 20, well, we'll just might as well do 25. That should be good. 25 gigabytes for the root partition. And then, one thing to watch out for when you add this last partition is it defaults to extended partition. So, this time we do have to type P. We want the first sector. And this is going to be our home partition, so we'll just let it take up the remainder of the device. Okay, so now I think we can type L to list our partitions. No, we want P, I think. Is it P? Print the partition table. So we've got 3 Linux partitions and 1 Linux swap partition. So that should be good. I think we're ready to write that to our virtual hard drive. Beautiful. So now we do need to create our file systems. So let's go ahead and do make fs ext4 dev vda1. So that's going to make our boot. Then we're going to skip 2 for now. We need to make swap on that. So VDA3 and VDA4. And then we'll mk swap on dev VDA2. Okay. Well, that was easy enough. So now we're going to mount our file systems. Our root partition is VDA3. We'll mount that to mnt. Now we need to make some directories under mnt. So we need to make a /boot and mnt/home to mount our other partitions. So we're going to mount dev vda1 to /mnt/boot. And we're going to mount dev vda4 to /mnt/home. Sure, yeah. I will let it auto-correct me. And we will turn our swap on now. Swap on dev vda2. Perfect. So now if we do lsblk, it should show us all of this. So we've got VDA1 is mounted to mount boot. VDA2 is swap. VDA3. Perfect. That all looks right. Okay, now we get to proceed with our actual installation. So swap on. Yeah, we're going to run gen fs tab later. We don't need that just yet. So first we're going to go ahead and run pacstrap. So we've got all of this. I'll go ahead and type it. We got pacstrap to /mnt. We want base. We want Linux. We want Linux firmware. I'm also going to go ahead and install virt-manager, just in case. Definitely had trouble with skipping that before. I also want vim. Is there anything else I want to start? I think that's plenty. Yeah, that should be good. Well, let's go ahead and get man. Actually, I think man will be in base devel. So I'll take that as well. Okay, so this is the part of the video where I'm probably going to have to try out some video editing, which I've never done before, but we will see. Yeah, I'm just going to sit here and watch it and see how long it takes. Actually, I guess the more reasonable thing to do is to pause the recording, and then I will just join the videos together. That way I don't have to do too much editing. So, thanks for watching so far. I'll see you guys in just a second. Okay, so the installation just finished, and now we're back. That only took, well, I'll check how long it took when I look at the video. So now we're down to this configure the system portion. We need to generate our FS tab. So something I usually like to do is I'm just going to skip the last portion of this command for a second, where they actually direct it into the file. We'll just take a quick look at this. So this is basically generating our file system table, so that it knows what, I believe it's so that it knows what drives to mount on boot. So you can see here, this all looks okay. The reason we use the $U flag is to get it to use UUIDs here instead of just these labels. Okay, so I'll go and run that again, and we'll actually store that into our FS tab. Let's see, FS tab. Okay, cool. Yeah, so instead of checking the resulting one, we just let it print out to the terminal first. Okay, with that, we're ready to get inside of the new system. So we're going to do arch chroot into mnt, and we're in. Yeah, there we go. So we do want to set our time zone. SF user share zone info. So my region I think is America, and I'll just go with Chicago for Central Time. and we're going to link that to etc local time, and then we're going to sync our hardware clock, I think. Perfect. Okay. Now we need to generate our locale. I'm just going to look for en_us. Yeah, there's an example. So I think this is the one we actually want to uncomment. en_us utf8. Okay. And now we can run locale gen. So you see, the Arch Wiki is pretty good for this kind of thing. I'm pretty much just blindly following whatever it says. So this one I'm always pretty skeptical of because I have mixed up like the period and the dash and the underscore before. So we've got lang equals en_us dot utf dash 8. That looks good. Where we're going to run into a little bit of trouble with the Arch Wiki is when we get to the GRUB setup, because it doesn't come out and tell you like use GRUB. It just says install a bootloader. Now, of course, you don't have to use GRUB, but that's the only one I've ever used actually, and it's very convenient. So we're going to use GRUB. I'll show you guys how to do that. It's not in this main installation page on the wiki. Okay, we did not set the console keyboard layout, so we don't need to worry about that. Let's see, network configuration. Let's see, hostname. What do we want to call this thing? This is actually the hardest part of the Arch installation. Coming up with the hostname. I'm just gonna call it Arch VM. Okay, so it says we usually do not have to do this, and that has been my experience. I did not have to do this. Set the root password. You know, I'll set a strong and complicated password just like distro2. Bootloader. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. Choose and install a Linux-capable bootloader. So we have to follow that. Let's go to bootloader. We're just going to go with GRUB. And let's see if this helps us do that. Let's see. The first thing... Yeah, this is the first command we need to run. Did I actually... I don't think I actually installed GRUB. So, if you've made it to this part in the video before doing this on your own, when you do the pacstrap, you should put GRUB in there. Let's go ahead and get GRUB. When I did this installation on my desktop, I had some trouble here with keys. We didn't have any trouble today, so that's good. I think the problem I had was that I had an outdated ISO. I had one from, man, a long time ago. So I was having a really hard time downloading things from Pac-Man inside of my Cheroot. So it looks like we didn't have any trouble like that today. And we can just go ahead and do this. Installation. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and run grub install. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Then do dev sdx is the disk. So dev s, what is ours? VBA, right? Well, hold on, we better lsblk. VDA, okay. Grub install dev VDA. So I've never actually had to specify the target directly. Grub can usually detect that, but let's see how it goes. Yeah, so it detected it. Installation finished, no error reported. So just to show you guys something else that I've been using a lot recently, you can actually get the exit code of the last command you ran by echoing this variable. And so you can see if it's a 0, that means it finished correctly. So if I were to do something like ls not a file, and then I were to echo that, you'll see it's a 2. So anything non-zero basically means that the thing failed. So I use this a lot when I'm building something from source, for example. So there's like a huge list of make that make spits out, and I'll just echo that variable and see if it's 0 or not. That way I don't have to try to like read back through everything and see if something went wrong. Okay, so we did install GRUB. The next thing to do is we actually need to save our config file. So there it is. So we want to do GRUB make config, and then we're going to put that into boot/grub/grub.config. GRUB config. Just make sure that looks good. And we will actually take a look at that. I don't really know what I'm looking for here, but I usually take a look at it just in case. I think for sure we want to see Linux in here somewhere because, yeah, there we go, Arch Linux. If you generate this and it's empty, that's bad. And that has happened to me before. One time I forgot to install Linux, so I had no kernel. And then I made it to this part, and I rebooted, and GRUB was like, there's nothing to boot into. So, should be good. That looked okay to me. Yeah, that should be all we need from the GRUB wiki. Okay, we chose this, installed it, we generated our FS tab, we generated our GRUB config. Now I think it's time to reboot. So, let's exit this. Just to be nice, we will do this. Okay. Perfect. And then let's reboot. So, I actually don't know how to do this. Can we reboot? Shut down. Reboot. Let's reboot our virtual machine. Okay. Oh, there's our GRUB menu. Looks like we are in. Cool. Okay, so the one thing I do need to do is I'll set up a user password. I bet I don't have man installed. Yeah, I don't. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is install man. Because Oh, I'm not on the internet. Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. Okay. Alright, and this is why we started Network Manager. So we can actually ping my website. Okay, beautiful. So now I should be able to update my packages. Nothing to do. Okay. Okay, so we want to add a new user. I think we can actually let this, we can just use the defaults. Yeah. Cool. Let's just use user add Brett. User mod, AG, wheel. And then let's go ahead and do vi sudo. Okay, so here's another trick that's very useful, is you can specify environment variables just on the command. So I need to tell it that my editor is Vim. And what I'm going to do here is just make sure that members of the group wheel can execute this command. Do I have sudo installed? Okay, good. So I think that came with base devel. So I think when I installed this on my desktop, I actually didn't have sudo when I first got in. So the other thing I need to do is set a strong and complicated password for my other user. Okay, now I should be able to log in as Brent. I did not create the... Alright, let's try that again. Okay, so there is some flag you need to give it to do that. But here we go, so I've got my own user. So this is going to be the starting point for the future videos. In the very next video, I'm probably going to go ahead and install DWM and ST inside of this virtual machine, and then we'll start to get rolling on the Emacs series. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this video was helpful. I don't think I have anything else to say about the Arch installation. That went pretty smoothly. So see you guys next time.